there's kind of a long history. There's a long history there, so it's always really interesting to see what you guys are up to. And digital identity in general, I think is it's been around forever, but it's now finally evolving to a place where it's starting to become more mature. And I think it's going to be one of those leading technologies in the entire ecosystem or the crypto space.
Great, that's good to know. And always know that we are here to help if you ever have any question. My colleagues, Marcia, you must have seen him answering a lot of cool questions on Discord. And my colleague Simon, they are like very, friendly people and helpful. So if you ever have any question or, you want to maybe have a meeting, maybe talk about some stuff, we are always willing to help. John, do you want to share what brought you to Veramo? How's it going with decentralized identity and all?
Sure, yeah. I'm a software engineer for this company called Energy Web. This organization, I suppose. It's a nonprofit. But yeah, we have some SSI tech ourselves, so we're not using Veramo directly, but I've been following the project, and what Veramo's doing is really impressive. It's great stuff. But we are using the DID ETHR method, which isn't exactly Veramo, but you're kind of in the same orbit. So I've been recently tracking the proposal for a new DID method that's in the same area, like an EVM DID method. So I guess at the moment, that's the area I'm most interested in, but Veramo is really interesting as well.
Thank you. Thanks for that feedback. I wish Nick was here, although Metra, you're also in the DID Ether.
Yeah, I can. So some time ago, I took a peek at the Energy Web stack, and I saw that you guys were essentially, you had to implement a lot of the things that we're trying to do here in Veramo on your own. Like you had to like pick and choose libraries from outside from the ecosystem and make them work together. And I think like when I saw it, it made me realize that this is kind of like what we're doing here as well. So, but making it as a framework so that making sure that things work together. It would be nice to kind of like continue this conversation and see what kind of like difficulties you've encountered. Maybe there's like some stuff we can help with, or like vice versa. No? And yes, we are the maintainers of the DID Ether methods, and I was aware that you had you were using it. You're actually using a newer version of the contract on Energy Web, so that's it doesn't have the same problems as the mainnet contracts, but yeah, I'm happy to hear that it's out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, awesome. I guess we can continue with basically the purpose of this calls, the community calls, is basically a way for us to meet with the community in real time from time to time. You already know that Veramo is open source, and we collaborate a lot with the community to make the project what it is today. So we have these calls monthly to meet one-on-one, like in a more closed environment with our community members. So we are free, like you're free to raise questions, or if you have maybe topics you would love to talk about, maybe you want to tell us more about the products you're working on or the project you're working on, you can feel free to reach out to me, and we can find a way to schedule it into one of our community calls so you can share your ideas with the community, right? So that we can all grow together. And one more question. Will either of you be coming for ETH Denver? Oh no. Okay.
No, I won't be attending either. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I wished you were attending, because Simon and Nick from our team will be at ETH Denver, and we are also having this R&D event where we are basically like going to be having conversations with other teams at the event. So for the sake of those that are going to be probably watching this video after I upload it, if anyone wants an invite to the R&D event, feel free to reach out to me so I can send an invite. Yeah, and if you also know maybe other teams that are in the identity space that might be interested in an invite to our R&D event, feel free to, you know, point them to me. I would quickly send them an invite. It's free. Okay, so I think I should give it to Marcia, give us a couple of technical updates around Veramo for the month of February. We are basically giving this update because this call is going to be uploaded on our YouTube. So eventually people are going to be watching it at their own pace. I want them to get like all the information about the things that we have for them for February. So Marcia, please go ahead.
Sure. So some of you may already know that we recently released Veramo 5.0. This has been a breaking change release, a major release, because there have been some major changes underneath. So the biggest one is the transition to ECMAScript modules. So all the packages that are exported from our monorepo are follow this new format for JavaScript modules. And I'm mentioning this, and this is a breaking change because in the JavaScript world, these two types of packages, the previous like CommonJS nodes, like native nodes, the packages, and this new ESM module format don't really work together like cleanly. You can make them work together, but it's sometimes it takes a bit of effort. So we marked it as a breaking change, and it triggered a major release for us. And some extra things about this release is that we had to change some method names in the did store and key store interfaces that we had to make sure that the code is usable in secure ECMAScript. There's like a conflict there with methods that are named import. So we had to change the method names there. So it's also this kind of thing also counts as breaking change. If you're interested in our release process in general, we're trying to follow semantic release as much as possible. And what that means is that whenever there's a breaking change, there's going to be a major change. We're not following a particular time schedule for releases. We try to release whenever it makes sense, so that what ends up published out there is something that's like directly usable without having to like wait for a particular time for it. So right before the 4.3, right before the 5 release, we published 4.3, which had the non-breaking changes that we had before. So the minor versions means a minor version bump means that there's new features being added. And in the 4.3 release, we had a bunch of things related to DITCOM. We added the trusting protocol support and support for message attachment as well. There have been some like bug fixes as well besides this, but this is the only like the feature changes. And yeah, whenever there's like a bug fix, there's a patch release. And for people that want to follow the latest and like the most cutting edge version, let's say, we have the next this tag, so you can install like at Veramo/core at next, and that would give you the latest published version, which is the following the main branch in our repository. Yeah, that's it in terms of technical updates.
All right, thank you for sharing, Marcia. I don't think there is there any question you have that I'm asking Frank and John? I know, John, you're not directly using Veramo, so you might not really have questions. Frank, I don't know if you're directly using Veramo at this point, but you're free to ask any question, whether related to Veramo or related to the ecosystem in general. I believe we might be able to have some answers.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've mostly been using the older technology that came from Uport, and I believe you guys are maintaining it. So recently been working with the DID registry, um, and the Ether DID packages. So we're just you can check out our website. It's cabanalabs.com. So we're getting pretty heavy into the SSI space as well, and we're a no-profit organization, and we're currently exploring concept around decentralized profiles, and so using IPFS to be able to store your profile, and using the DID registry to register a link to IPFS that we end up taking your content, encrypting it and placing it on IPFS, and then registering it as a service in the DID registry. So when somebody looks up your DID, resolves it, they'll be able to see that there's an IPFS content link within there, and then be able to pull that from IPFS. We're using another technology from Lit Protocol that gives us the gated access to that content, and allows the user to control whether it's public or private. And this is something that's missing from IPFS and decentralized storage. As soon as you put it out there, it's always there, and you no longer have control over that. And so with the Lit protocol gated access, we allow the user to be able to mark that as private. It's kind of important for, like, if you want to create another version of something, you want to be able to kind of remove the older version. So this is a way to be able to do that. So we're working a lot with the DID registry and Ether DID, the universal resolver, and those things.
That's very nice. Yeah, we're also exploring adding Lit protocol support directly in Veramo as a potential key management system. That's like programmable key pair that they have is really interesting, and it would be nice to add support for it. And yeah, it is one of the downsides of decentralized storage is exactly what you mentioned, that once you put it out there, you essentially lose control. Like you not always, but you can never be certain that it's been like treated properly once it's out. And it's very important that things be kept like permanently encrypted there, if possible, so that you don't accidentally leak anything. Yeah, that's very interesting use case. Have you explored using ceramic, for example, for storage as well? I know that they are using IPFS as well, and they have this method of updating documents as well, as a stream of snapshots, essentially.
Yeah, I initially looked at ceramic in the beginning when I was trying to decide on which technology to use, but it was a little bit more than what we needed, because all we really wanted was that IPFS access, and there was many additional layers there that we had to get through. So just to kind of simplify things, we decided not to use ceramic right now, but it's definitely on our list to kind of to monitor and keep track of.
Yeah. Right now, one of our development efforts is related to the storage API that we use. So we started out with this TypeORM based storage, so mostly SQL databases. But now we're trying to transition to something that's a bit better or more flexible. So we have this like storage API upgrade path what we're trying to figure out now is if it's possible to use multiple data sources in the same kind of instance and have a coherent query API for it, so that it's a it fits more flexible use cases instead of what we had right now. So what right now we kind of had to make assumptions about what's being stored, like credentials, presentations, some DID metadata, some key metadata, and stuff like that. That's the kind of thing that Veramo stores. But we want to transition into something that's much more flexible and allows people to use whatever else types of data that they want to use, and have that at the same time queryable. So it's a tall order, but I think it's possible as well. And of course, on top of that, it needs to be encryptable by the agent or by the user that is using it, and also have the ability to index as well. So yeah, tall order. If anyone's interested in participating, watching the recording, just join our Discord or GitHub and follow the discussion or pitch in.
Great. Thank you, Marcia, for sharing more light on that. Frank, Simon is asking, all right. Thanks for sharing that. The link I just shared as well is the recap to the previous Twitter spaces we had earlier this month. So you can read the recap or listen to the record. Then it was a very interesting conversation with Daniel Buckner of Blogs and Chris Ware of Verida. So yeah, do give it a listen. I forgot to mention one of our teammate, Nick, is going to be speaking at ETH Denver. He is unable to join this call today. Nick will be speaking at ETH Denver on best practices for decentralized social networking. So I know Frank and John are not attending, but then if anyone who is watching the recording would be attending, it would be great to tune into Nick's session by 12:20 p.m. at National Western Port Castle. That's the address. So yeah, I don't know if there is something else that I would want to talk about in this call before we call it a day. I have a couple of updates though, but I'm going to be sharing it in the community Discord since we don't have a lot of people here. So I'm going to be dropping the updates that we have on the community side. We have a lot of wins. Our community members and collaborations did a lot of great and amazing things. So I'm going to be spotlighting some of them later on. So do we have anything else that we want to bring up, questions, suggestions, anything?
I can bring up the did Ether upgrade that we're trying to do. So there's a working group that meets every Thursday in our Discord for now. We haven't found any better place to meet, but if you want to join that and follow the discussion, you can join the call, and there's also a GitHub repository where some async discussions are happening. Yeah, if anyone's interested, we will probably post a link somewhere.
Also share the link with me so that when I'm uploading this video, I would also add it to the description.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, John and Frank, for joining. It's been a good few minutes chatting with you. I hope we get to see in our next community call that will be coming up next month by 23rd as well. We intend to make these calls more regular, as I said, monthly and the last Thursdays of the month, unless something comes up and we're not able to meet together, but then we would always communicate that. So thanks once again. Thank you, Marcia and Simon, for joining as well. I hope you have a very beautiful day ahead.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.